Hey, mostly sunny good morning to you. A few more clouds out there than what we've had the last couple of days. Not going to see too much of that in the coming days, but it's on its way. Don't worry. Jonathan Dent sitting in for Terry Henney one more time here this week. Terry will be back with us on Monday. He's out of the state doing some business with the National Association of Farm Broadcasters and taking a little bit of time off at the same time. Have certainly wish him safe travels as he makes his way back to us for next week. But in the meantime, we'll take a look at what's going on, weather, markets, and more. In terms of the weather, there's more pleasant weather ahead of us this weekend. Round or two of showers come through next week. For today, I mentioned a few more clouds than what we have been seeing, but still pretty sunny skies for today. Warmer than we were yesterday. And as we continue to warm up on into the weekend, we will have relatively still air at least today. Got 75 or 77 for a high yesterday out at the airport, and our low got down to 53 degrees last night, actually early this morning. A few spots of fog earlier on this morning, and that's kind of been characteristic of the last few days. That is certainly gone by now, though. Matthew, what are we looking at right now weather-wise?
Currently, over at the airport, it's partly sunny at 68. Over in Midland, it's partly sunny at 70. Here at Radio Center, it's partly sunny at 68. We have southwest winds at 6 miles per hour, and our pressure's at 30.28, and it's falling.
They're looking at 70 degrees under mostly sunny skies in downtown Bay City as well. That barometric pressure, we're going to continue to have high barometric pressure today. But that system that's been hanging out over the eastern U.S. pretty much all week is slowly making its way out to the east. The Upper Peninsula and parts of northern lower Michigan may get some scattered shower activity later this afternoon into this evening. Nothing substantial, though. Any substantial coverage would be up in Ontario north of us. Here in the Great Lakes Bay region, we're looking to reach 80 degrees today, a low of 57 overnight tonight. Sunny skies all the way through. As we continue to heat up tomorrow, we also gain humidity, and that'll make things a little bit muggy and sticky as we get through the weekend. 85 our projected high for tomorrow, 86 on Sunday. Maybe a few clouds hanging around, but we're staying sunny all the way through the weekend. A weak low pressure system begins to factor into our weather as we move into the evening on Sunday and into Monday, and that'll be followed by a more localized high pressure moving across from west to east starting off next week, kind of mixing things up a little bit to start things off. It's really that humidity, though, that would drive any possible shower or thunderstorm activity that we get Monday or Tuesday. And we keep warming up during that time, not cooling off during those 2 days. 88 for a high on Monday, looking at 90 on Tuesday. And Tuesday, that's when we'll see good chances for any spotty showers or thunderstorms brought on by that humidity. Wednesday, we'll start to cool back down a little bit into the mid 80s, then down to around 80 again on Thursday. And that afternoon, Thursday afternoon and evening, we're looking at an organized weather system finally to start making its way into the region, bringing rain to most of Michigan. That'll continue on through Friday. Hope to see that precipitation clear off for the holiday weekend, but we could use a drink, and it should cool us down quite a bit, so we'll have that going for us. So we'll enjoy the summer weather while we've got it this weekend before it warms up too much to start next week and then dampens things towards the end of next week. I know some people who are looking forward to that rain later on as well. Long range outlook takes us through September 5th. We're looking at near normal temperatures, near normal precipitation, so pretty average as far as that's concerned. Speaking of averages, our average high for August 23rd, 79 degrees. We should be right up around there. Our average low, 59 degrees, and that's kind of the range that we're getting to there. Record high on this date set in 1954, 96 degrees. Our record low for this date was just set 3 years before that, 42 degrees. The warmest ever, August the 23rd, set in 1968. The average temperature was 85 degrees. Sun will set this evening, 8:26. Rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. We'll talk a little bit more about the weather as we move on through the broadcast over the next half hour or so, but Let's take a look at what the markets are doing after a quick break. Matthew, who are we talking to?
Up next, we have Gary Kaufman from Star of the West, and we also have Doug Klein from Oppenheimer.
Doug making his return, and Gary's going to tell us how the week wraps up. But first, the weather report brought to you by the folks at Nutrien Ag Solutions. Time for our market report on this Friday morning. We go over to Star of the West, and that's where we find Gary Kaufman this morning. Gary, good morning.
Hey, good morning there, Jonathan. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Been a fast week again here. Overall for the week here, the grains, wheat took it kind of on the chin this week, down about 20 for the week. Corn kind of stayed pretty well even all week as we look at last Friday's closes to where we are at the noon hour today. Corn was pretty much unchanged. And then actually soybeans are up 15 for the week after having a dismal week last week. So trying to hold our own today. So.
Yeah, and the soybeans making a bounce back today after kind of taking some punishment yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday we're down 20, but that Pro Farmers Tour is going on. Of course, yesterday, the tour pegged Illinois' pod count at the highest level in 24 years, and I'm sure that had a little bit to do with the downward reaction on the market yesterday. And and traders are still favoring a record national yield on soybeans as well, Jonathan. So, and then corn as well is not too far behind it. So it becomes a tug of war. We got a big production, kind of some of the I states, and Minnesota's, actually they had too much rain. So their crop production forecast is not as good as it's been in past years. But at the end of the day, we need demand, and we're getting some more demand on exports. We're with these low prices and that we've seen in years, it is creating a little bit of more demand for us. Mexico's been in buying, Japan's been in buying, so that's a good thing. Hopefully we can find the bottom here pretty quick, because I know the growers are getting a little anxious, and we continue to see some downward price action, and some of that is just from the funds as well. The funds have been in the market selling off. They have record large short positions, and that's creating some, unpopular price forecasting too with their positions as well. So,
all right, what do you got on the board right now?
Yeah, right now, Jonathan, we got cash wheat down a couple right now, 504 on the white, 429 on the red. We look out a year, new crop 2025 down 2 at 576 on the white, 487 on the red. Cash corn, call it down a penny at 295. New crop down a penny as well at 327. Cash soybeans up 10 at 952, and new crop up 10 as well at 892.
You mentioned earlier the possibility of a record soybean yield or pod setting at the very least. We talked a little bit earlier this week about the possibility of a record corn crop as well, but corn hasn't really been making all that big of moves this week. Any insight there?
Yeah, basically, that demand, we've had some pretty decent export sales, Jonathan. So with the higher production numbers and additional demand that we're seeing on the export side, they kind of nixed each other out, if you will, and that seemed to keep the market from going down further with some of that high production numbers that we're seeing. The exports have been kind of keeping up with that, so we need to continue to see that demand on the export side to offset some of these large production numbers coming here this fall. So.
All right. Interesting stuff. Glad we're keeping an eye on it. Gary, thank you so much. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. Have a good weekend.
You too. Gary Kaufman with Star of the West. Certainly thank him for his time. The market report today brought to you by Thumb Bank and Trust, making agricultural loans since 1895. Farming today continues to offer challenges that are very demanding, and Thumb Bank and Trust helps you stay up to date on industry trends and the trends of your operation. Thumb Bank and Trust, they're serving you with locations throughout the Thumb and in the Great Lakes Bay region. Thumb Bank and Trust, where relationships are built on trust. Equal opportunity lender, member FDIC. Well, we've been without him for the past couple of days, and we've been lacking his insight, and he returns to us today. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer. Welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be back. Thank you.
I can kind of do what Terry does. I don't think I can do what you do, so I'm glad to have you back.
I don't know if I can do what I do some days. So we'll leave back.
What do you got for us today?
Got the Fed meeting going on. Powell's been talking since about 10 o'clock this morning. So he's got the dollar pretty weak, kind of sort of trading at 100.70, and that's down about 4, maybe even 5% in the last few weeks. So that's given strength to obviously the stock market. That's number one. It's pushing interest rates down, so that's giving strength to the bond market, number two. And it's probably putting in some sort of a floor for your commodities in general. But other than that, crude oil is solid. It's up $1.70, so that's not anything happy to write home about. We didn't get a new high in gold today, but it's pushing. I mean, it's within about 10 more bucks, another new high. Got a lot of new highs on the stock market today. Everybody's excited, easy money, print lots of money, and it always ends up in the stock market or some facsimile thereof. So here are your numbers. The September corn is 370.5, down a penny. The December corn, 393, down a half a penny. November soybeans, 972.5, up 11 cents. January soybeans, 990 and a quarter, up 10 3/4. September wheat, 507 3/4, down 3 1/4, and December wheat, 533 1/4, down 2 1/4. The crude oil is at 74.80, up $1.79. Heating oil, 232, up 4.1 cents. Gasoline is 211.37, up 3.5 cents. Natural gas 217, down 2 1/4 cents. Over to currencies, Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar buys $1.3504 Canadian. That's down 11 ticks. The dollar buys 144.70 yen, down 156 ticks. And you can see where that dollar getting weaker is buying less of those two currencies. And that tremendously affects the balance of trade in everything. The euro's at 111.90. That's up 8 ticks. And the dollar is at 100.72, down 78 ticks. Gold is at 25.17, up $35 an ounce. Silver's 29.85, up 80 cents. Platinum's 963.70, up $10. And copper's at 425. That's up 6.5 cents. So very solid in the metals.
All right, Doug, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again next week.
Have a good weekend.
All right, Doug Klein from Oppenheimer. We'll be right back. something that came across our desk the other day. After COVID, or during COVID, we had a lot of conversation about shipping and especially as it relates to agriculture supplies, the supply chain. Well, Michigan Ag Today has this report kind of updating us on how things stand right now. And that's Michigan Ag Today reporting. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll check in with Chuck Cervinsky over at Maple Hill Nursery.
Farm Service is being brought to you by Freeland Bean and Grain. Getting ready for the planting season next year? It's not too early. All you got to do is give certified crop advisor Vic Hupfer a call at Freeland Bean and Grain. He's got the answers to any questions you might have. Freeland Bean and Grain. Since 1983, where serving you is their business.
Time to go over to Maple Hill Nursery where we find Chuck Cervinsky. Chuck, you staying busy?
Yeah, we've got our summer sale going on right now. It's a perfect time to get some planning done. We've got 40% off all trees, shrubs, perennials, 30% off all al fresco home outdoor furniture, some really beautiful sets there, 50% off pottery, and we've even got 20% off on some select Polywood dining and deep seating floor models. That doesn't happen too often, but we still have a few that we're turning and getting new floor models to replace them in. So some great deals to be had right now.
Absolutely. Still got a little bit left in summer anyway. When does that sale go until?
It's going to go until September 15th right now.
Got a
So
little
lots
bit,
of time.
got lots of time, but are you as supplies last or?
Yes, that's basically what it is. We're just trying to thin down what we have, and there are some things that we're starting to run out of. So, of course, hurry in for the best selection.
Absolutely. And where can people go to find those deals?
We are at 2672 North Eastman Road, just past the Monroe Road intersection on the right-hand side. And you can also give us a call here at 989-835-4708. Visit our website, www.maplehillmidland.com.
Fantastic. Chuck, thank you very much. You have a good weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Chuck Cervinsky with Maple Hill Nursery. Time to turn our attention now. We've talked about the summer sale at Maple Hill. Let's talk a little bit about fall. We've got Stephanie Zelenko with AgroLiquid. And Stephanie, it's not too early to be planning, is it?
It is not, as we have these temperatures the last couple of days, it feels like fall is getting closer. Hopefully this weekend brings summer back for us. But wheat planting is just around the corner. So it's starting, it's a good time to start thinking about what we need for that wheat crop from the crop nutrition side. Phosphorus, iron, and manganese are probably the three top nutrients when we're looking at a fall planting. So getting that fertilizer program lined up, whether it's a dry broadcast or a liquid program, and getting your wheat seed ready to go, it'll be a couple steps ahead for when we can get those soybeans off and get that wheat in the ground.
Absolutely, having that plan in place. I'm hearing a few conversations about some areas being a little bit ahead of schedule when it comes to the corn, especially. If it comes to it where guys are getting those crops off earlier than they normally would, is it a matter of let's get that wheat in right away, or is it let's wait a little bit and make sure we're getting it in kind of on the normal schedule?
I think as long as we have good weather conditions, getting it in early isn't a concern. We used to have some disease and insect pressures we'd have to worry about. We do a pretty good job at managing those now. So the more growth that we can get, and the sooner we can get that in, I think the better that crop will be come next summer.
Fantastic. Stephanie, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again.
You're welcome. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Stephanie Zelenko with AgroLiquid. We will be right back.
Brought to you today by the folks at Michigan Truck Spring of Saginaw, your complete parts and service headquarters for light, medium, and heavy-duty trucks and trailers, as well as buses and recreational vehicles. Quality parts and service at very competitive prices for well over 45 years. 800-358-4751 or buy online at truckspring.com. And don't forget, they're open Monday through Friday till 11 p.m. Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at the Rummel Agency because, they understand the risks that you have as a Michigan farmer and an agribusiness owner. Now, they know that every farm they vary like the crops in the fields. They know also that you are more than a number. They want to have a conversation with you. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your family, your goals, and dreams for the future, and how important these things are to you. One-on-one, that's what it's all about, to get the right farm insurance protection for you and your family. See them today. Give them a call. Frankenmuth, Saginaw, and Caro, the Rummel Insurance Agency.
We talked about it a little bit with Stephanie there. She mentioned hopefully some pleasant weather this weekend. It should be. We are going to warm up, as I mentioned, mid-80s, 85, 86 for a high tomorrow and Sunday. Today, though, just hitting at that 80-degree mark before we start to get that humidity rolling in late in the weekend, early into next week, which could bring with it, once again, some of those showers. Cooling down on Wednesday, kind of the calm before the storm a little bit. I wouldn't call it a storm, but definitely an organized system of different showers and precipitation moving through late Thursday into Friday. That's our next best chance to see some precipitation. Sun will set this evening, 8:26, rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. Definitely looking forward to enjoying the summer weather while we've got it, because fall is on its way. We will be back at 12:30 with an update, so you make sure to stick around for that. In the meantime, we'll close out this program with the playing of our national anthem presented by Euclid Avenue Coins in Bay City.